Today's Pack-a-Punch broadcast is presented by Vesta Nutra. Vesta Nutra, where we can help make sure all your supplements pack a punch.
Hello, welcome to Pack-a-Punch Podcast. I'm Richard Pinner, and I'm here, and Val is on vacation in Florida, enjoying some sun and fun with the wonderful Star Wars stuff. But in her absence, we have our customer service specialist, Morgan, here. Hi, Morgan.
Hi, Richard. I am not in Florida. I'm in Indianapolis. And
Yeah.
It's not as sunny or warm as I'd wish it would be.
Not at all.
I'm not mad at Val or anything for leaving us for Florida.
Hey, I'm sure she's having a good time. But today, let's talk about what you do with us at customer service. Let the people know how important you are to us.
Sure. Well, as Richard said, my name is Morgan. I started with the company here in September of last year. So I'm coming up on my 6 months here. And I've basically learned that customer service, either in this industry or in the last industry, which was the luminous Starbucks. Yeah, everyone says that. It's pretty much the same, no matter where you go. The whole point of it is keep everyone happy, keep everyone informed, make sure everyone knows what's going on. And, here at Vesta, it's a little different from making a latte, I'll admit.
I want a Frappuccino.
So, not to lie, some people come in and want a Frappuccino that feels like I'm putting together a whole $1,000 project for them. Not, I'm not going to downplay that at all. But it is definitely different here. And I'm kind of the back and forth. I'm the between person here. If a customer has a question, I take it to my team. If my team has a question, I take it to the customer. I'm pretty much the one-stop shop for, how many bottles is this? What type is this? What do they need? It's a lot of information to handle. But I don't know, if I can remember to make a ristretto quad shot no foam skinny vanilla latte for Mel on Sundays.
Yum, yum.
I can remember a bottle count and a formula for a customer, and I can take that to my team.
And that's vital.
Yeah.
She's been a great asset to us, and it's a wonderful, wonderful day when she's on board because she brings a lot of energy and experience and what I call that oomph to the table. Mm-hmm. So you must get all kind of questions in customer service. Like what's usually one of the most prevalent questions you get?
From the customer regarding, what we do here and what we can do for the customer, I usually get asked, can I get a sample of this made? Or, can I get a prototype? Or can I, they want a physical sample. Again, they want it to hold in their hands. They want to look at it. They want to see it, smell it, whatever they do with it.
So big demand on samples.
Yeah, that's up to them.
I want to touch that.
So, and we have a couple of options here. We can give them a fully finished sample, all the testing ready to go. We can give them what we like to call the R&D, right, where we just make it, formulate it, make sure it fits, and make sure it's looks right, basically, but that doesn't have the testing. And a lot of times when we try to explain that to customers, they're like, well, what are the benefits? What are the downsides? And it really just matters on what they want. It's all about them knowing what they want, and sometimes it takes us talking to them.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds to me like you just want R&D instead of what do you really want? So I think that's one of the main questions I get is, what can you give me before I place my order?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Traditionally, what should we expect, or what should the customer expect to deliver on that first call? What should they be prepared to bring to the table?
Well, usually a general idea of what they even want the project to do is always vital. If you don't have details on what size capsule you want, what exact ingredients you want, that's stuff that we can work out pretty easily. If you don't have that vital, well, I want this pill to fight joint inflammation, or I want this powder to up my metabolism, if you don't have a goal or a site for your project, I mean, that's all up to you. We can give you goals all day long, but in the end, it's what the customer wants. So when they come to us, we really want them to know what they want, what they're really looking for. And we can always work out the details, after that. That is no problem.
And that's key. I mean, with a startup, I'm sure there's a much higher level of questions, queries, and mystery. With some of the more standardized people and follow-up and customer service, what's your biggest challenge?
My biggest challenge would be just trying to fulfill what the customer wants to a T while keeping it in line with what we can really provide. We'd love to offer the moon and the stars, but we
That's very expensive.
Sometimes it looks like they're looking for a miracle drug. You know what I mean? A miracle. It fits perfectly in this particular capsule, this particular size, and this particular bottle. And while we would love to give you that at a nice, cost-effective rate, it just isn't. Not all machinery works with all bottles. Not all tooling works with all capsules. And basically, the biggest obstacle we face is doing our best to reach that goal that they want, that standard that they're looking for. And a lot of the time it works out. I feel like we've got a pretty good rate going, honestly, of fulfilling what they want in their product. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes they just have to say, look, I wanted this done a certain way, and you guys can't do that. And we just have to say, all right, and bow out gracefully and hope they come back and have something more in line with what we can give them.
Oh, I'm sure. I bet through all this customer service jargon, you've met some pretty interesting people. What's the most interesting person or persons you've encountered?
Oh, no. I don't want to, I'll talk about interesting people from Starbucks I've encountered because I don't work there anymore. So I don't care if anyone
no. We want to talk about people there in the contract. No. We want to talk about the contract manufacturing community.
I really like, it's nice to be prudent on your product, to have those specifications and tell us what you want. There are sometimes clients that are very, shall we say, particular
That's
about.
A good word. She's particular.
Meticulous, even.
Yeah.
And, that's great. And if you stay on track with communication with us and make everything clear, that's great too. We're so happy to work with you on that. Sometimes if you're bad on the uptake on that other side of communication, things can get a little rocky. Things can get a little, he said, she said, oh, let me go find that old email. Let's sort this out for good. I guess those would be the characters that I've kind of struggled with and really have impacted me as to up my game when it comes to communication, really.
Communication is paramount.
Yeah.
Common mistakes made on the first call are usually what?
From our side or the customer side?
Let's go from the customer side, because we usually we're groomed to make the right calls. But what do you usually find is probably one of the most common mistakes on that first call?
I would say when they call and they are ready to start production the week after.
So they have no idea about timelines.
Right. When in their mind, I've reached out to this company and it's going to happen. It's going to happen next week. I'm going to have my product next week. When in reality, I mean, that's not how it goes at all. It takes weeks of, formulation. We get that quote out, within 2 to 3 days usually. And we try to go for shorter than that, obviously. But it really does take weeks of just getting in the materials and making sure it's up to their standards before even, getting a sample out there. You know what I mean?
Right? Yeah, really, what is a realistic timeline from start to finish? From the time I put pretty much the customer in line for what their needs are, and they are starting the process and getting a quote, what's the timeline usually look like to you?
To me, it really does depend on the customer and their response rate and what they're looking for. We've had this recently where we've had customers that come in and, 2 days later, they've got a quote, and then a few days after that, they send a PO, and then 12 weeks later they've got their product.
Is it always 12 weeks? Or is it,
well, we say 10 to 12 weeks for new projects.
There you go.
And we like to keep that because we don't want to overpromise and then fall short.
Yeah, that's the worst.
So, we have deals like that where it's very cut and dry, easy flow. And then we have customers, and this is not a bad thing at all because, again, open communication and negotiation and talking is great. But, they need weeks to work out the kinks in their formula. I don't want this size capsule, I want this size. And, what can we do for you if we can't do that size? And it's a lot of negotiation.
And that communication is always.
Yeah.
When you talk about products, there are a lot of misconceptions about regulations, the regulatory formats. Did you get a lot of feedback on that?
I think there is. I don't deal with a lot of regulation
That's more
mumbo
Alice.
jumbo.
That's
That
more-
is more Alice.
Yeah.
But from where I see, we have quite a few, mostly startups who are new. The more seasoned veterans of this industry know that it's not simple as it seems. But a lot of startups will kind of feel like, oh, this isn't food. This isn't, pharmaceutical. I should just be able to make whatever and slap whatever on the label and send it out. When in reality, it is much more monitored than you would probably like to think. No company wants to make something with a label claim that's going to land them in hot water.
And that's very vital.
Yeah.
But, from all you've kind of run across, the regulatory format is not that big of a deal, but in reality it is. But the key element that I want our audience to hear today is that how important and vital customer service is. People overlook the fact of a good company has a good customer service format, and the kind of people like yourself that have a good listening skill and a good ear to understand the demands and the challenges of a project to make sure it's done in a timely manner. It's key and paramount, and we have been just pleased as punch to have you on board because you're a go-getter and you have a proactive attitude and you have a fast-track learning curve that's been very impressive, and I think that's paramount. So I want to just say, hey, thanks a lot, Mark, for being part of the team. It's been very, very, very refreshing to have somebody that's proactive versus the reactive. So to our audience, I say customer service, king, paramount, especially when dealing with people and ideas and visions. Without that, your company goes nowhere. In an overall perspective, I think it's been a pretty good start for our year, and I think we're on the right track. What do you think, Mark?
I'm excited to see where 2021 leads us, basically. I think we've got a lot of good stuff on the back burners that are getting ready to move up front. And I'm excited to see where it takes us.
Well, 2021 is definitely looking mighty, mighty good to me. Vesta Nutra on the go, looking for all the best things in the world. And I want to say, don't forget to look us up on Facebook at Pack a Punch Podcast or online at vestanutra.com/podcast and say hello to us. We want to hear from you and hear what you want to talk about. And we want to say thank you so much for listening to us today. Morgan, what do you say? You want to say hello and goodbye?
Hello and goodbye. Thanks.
Great to have Morgan with us today. Val will be back next week, and I want to thank you for hanging out with us. Don't forget to pack a punch.
You've been listening to the Pack a Punch broadcast, brought to you by Vesta Nutra. If you like what you heard today, please share, like, and subscribe.